Hello again, friends, and welcome to another edition of UNB Live, where it's all things Upper Nicola, your community, your show, your issues. And of course, we always will welcome your input. My name is Bob Price, alongside Communications Officer Diana Boston. And Diana, we're going to school today.
And Bob, as we all know, there are few things more critical to personal and community growth than education. We are so excited to have our A-plus Upper Nicola Education Manager, Charlene McRae, here, as we have so much to get caught up on, from budgets to updating the curriculum to school completion rates. Suffice it to say that Charlene has a very, very big job, and that means we have a lot to talk about.
Indeed, we do, Diana. As we always do here on UNB Live, though, we're going to kick things off with the rundown. Well, so now that we're into November, Halloween behind us, you know what that means. More and more signs that Christmas is fast approaching. Have you put up that Christmas tree yet, Diana?
I haven't even fully put away my Halloween decorations yet, Bob. I haven't even reached for the tree yet.
Well, since we're talking Christmas, I do understand, though, that the organizing is now well underway for the always popular Christmas Trees fundraiser.
Oh, yes, we're coming back with that again. It is going to be 10 days in December, and we will have an entire church filled with prizes. Awesome, amazing trees, great fundraiser for the community as well as the youth and elders. And there will be more information coming out about that very, very soon.
Well, I know that the grandmothers are also getting their matters all in order for the annual Custom Tima Community Christmas Party.
Yes, every year we have a Christmas party for the children, and Santa comes to visit. They start with breakfast, and then then they get to meet Santa and get their little presents, and it's pretty good because it includes all the children that are in school, like all school age children, and Charlene actually helps a lot with that, so it's
Have
a
you
very good thing.
have you been naughty or nice?
It depends who you
I
ask.
don't think we should go there. Diana, there's an app for that. The UNB app expanding its global reach.
Oh, finally, yes. Our UNB app is available in North America, Mexico, and that includes Canada and the States. But since we have members in New Zealand and Australia, I have made the app global so that we can get it in Australia or in Canada. So if you want to download the app, just go on into your app store and Google Play or, look up UNB Silk Band.
It's a great way to stay informed wherever you are. Diana, I note that we're still looking for some on-call firewood harvesters.
Yes, we need more wood for the people in the community that cannot access it for themselves. And we're calling on some um, advanced tree fallers. Like, you have to know what you're doing. You have to have your own chainsaw, your safety gear, have to have your PPE. So if you're interested, just contact the health office at 250-378-5058 and
And,
ask for Emily.
and of course, that is where they can find out more about rates of compensation, etc. One more, Diana. I know that we're going to be talking more about this in our next edition of UNB Live, but a worthwhile reminder that there is indeed lots of help available for those folks who might not have a regular family doctor.
Yes, as the Nicola Valley is very short on doctors right now, we can barely even keep our ER open for crying out loud. But we are having a list, and we do have a list for a new doctor's office coming to Merritt. So again, you just got to call the health office at 250-378-5058. Ask for Terry or Emily, and they will get you in contact with the list you need to be on to get a new family doctor.
And by the way, I'll put in a good word for Santa. I think you've been nice.
Okay, that'll help. I'll,
That,
I'll add it to my note.
Thank you, Diana. You are a wealth of information as always. It's been said that we never stop learning, so we are so looking forward to getting an update on Upper Nicola education matters in today's edition. UNB's education manager, Charlene McRae, is here. The interview next.
think Bob really hit it on the head, reminding us that we never stop learning, which is a good thing, of course. Our special guest this time is someone we've been looking forward to having a chat with for some time, but she's so busy. Upper Nicola Education Manager, Charlene McRae. Welcome to UNB Live.
Thank you for the invite. I was kind of looking forward to this for some time now. I've been watching the other managers on UNB Live, so which is great to see and hear about their updates, even though we have regular managers meeting and getting updates from them. But it's also nice to see it live. So I'm grateful to be here, and I guess I can start off with what I do in my department.
Yeah, I was going to go there because
Oh, okay.
when we were talking about, we were talking to you on the telephone, making these arrangements for the show. Uh, I could not believe how much is on your plate. You are incredibly busy, but do indeed tell us a little bit more about your role as education manager.
Oh, okay. So I've been education manager now since 2000. Oh no, 1996. I was
Yep.
like education assistant or the
Right.
education coordinator. Then after late Francis had passed, I was still an education assistant, whom we had Deneen Manuel that was in the position. So I was her assistant. And after she moved on and had moved to the U.S., and so I got the position, and I've been here since. And over the years, there was like a lot of different roles because I had an assistant now, which I don't have an assistant. So I'm basically managing the education department on my own with some help of Colette Sunday, who um, is my supervisor. And so from there, I do a lot of, like right now, I manage a K to 12, which is elementary,
Hmm.
um, and post-sec. So
Yeah.
I,
I'm getting the impression that your days begins early and ends late.
uh, yeah, sometimes, because with the activities that School District 58 have,
Right.
they're always in the evening. And not only that, I have sessions with parents and community members, which we hold in the evenings also because we want parents to attend. So we can't have it during the day because a
Right.
lot of them are working parents.
And let me just interject here. You do you have these regular get-togethers with parents to bring them up to speed on various matters. Are parents able to just call you and make an appointment if they do have some questions?
Oh, yes, they are because with the School District 58, we have a superintendent, which was Steve McNiven. He used to
Yep.
come to our band office and go to the health office and slot times in for parents to just review the report
Hmm.
cards or listen to any concerns they have or just to talk to him because that way the doors are always open
That's
to
great.
have good communication with our superintendent. And yeah, so that is ongoing. Now we got a new superintendent, um,
Yeah.
which is different because she's from Saskatchewan, so she's um, just learning the stuff that like
Right.
our surrounding areas. Because as an education manager, I also work with 5 other bands, which we meet on a regular basis with the School
Yep.
District 58. So um, just communicating with them and to make sure that we're all on the same page is
Yep.
because we signed this local education agreement
Right.
that our chief and council had signed with the other bands, and
Okay.
um, it's for opening the doors for accountability, being responsible, informing parents,
Oof.
and ensuring that our students are successful at the end of the year,
Yeah.
because there's so many times that some of our students fall through the cracks, and because so by the time so we do have regular meetings quarterly,
Yep.
and we have
Sounds to me like there's a lot more to this than arithmetic and
oh,
spelling.
it is.
Yeah. Diana?
So, with the communication that you do have with the school district, do you go in and talk to individual teachers for students? Like, do you accompany the parent and students to get them what they want so they don't fall through the cracks?
Yeah, we do. Once we have our quarterly reports that come to us, and then I go over it with the superintendent, and we start red flagging some of these students, and then have regular meetings. Like I go in there and meet with the teachers,
Right.
and um, we have DVR meetings, which is right from elementary right to graduation, because we want all our students to be successful at the end of the year. We
And
don't
that's
want to have to wait towards the end of the year and we find out they're not passing,
it
or
really is why
yeah.
that level of communication and support is absolutely critical. So I dare say that you have a lot to consider as well when it comes to determining financial supports. It's part of your responsibility.
Mhm. So with our financial support, because I do K to 12 plus post-sec,
Right.
we do this census form that we have to hand in to Indigenous Service Canada
Mm-hmm.
at in October. So they do the count as of end of September for K to 12.
Mm-hmm.
So I do the nominal roll, which they call it. So I submit that in, and from there they finalize the list
Right.
in December, which we have money flowing in January. So
Okay.
there's a process there for that, and but then with that, it's only on reserve, because that's what the census forms there
Right.
is for,
Right.
on
So
reserve.
some
But
key
yeah,
dates coming up very soon
yeah,
now, obviously.
yeah. No, that's done now.
Oh, okay.
And then with our post-sec, because we have a deadline also, April 30th of every
Okay.
year. Then we interview all the post-secondary students, which is usually myself
Mm-hmm.
and the youth, an elder, and a community member, and one of chief and council. So there's 5 that sit on the committee, and
Right.
we interview every one of them. Usually we have about 40 to 45 that we interview. And this year we sponsored 35. So there
Wow.
are some students that
Yeah.
we didn't sponsor. And the decision is made with the group. So
Yeah.
I don't do the,
But those numbers, that
yeah,
35 to 40, 35,
yeah.
45 number, that really does speak to demand, doesn't
Oh,
it?
it does.
Yeah.
And some of them are part-time, which you're only paying
Right.
tuition, which is fine, because
Yeah.
yeah, so like my budget with that, because we do an LEA payment to the school district 58, which is like just sometimes it could be 1 million. Like that's how
Okay.
big our budget is we pay.
Wow.
And post-sec is like 367. So it's quite a large budget. And to make sure that I do my budgeting like in January, then we have our quarterly reports, which I have to check to see, okay, am I on track?
Yeah.
Because we just did our midterm,
Right.
our mid budgets, and to see if we're on track.
Yeah.
And if we need any other more dollars, or saying, okay, this is where we're going to run short
Yeah.
on. So it's really monitoring the budget and making sure that our students are.
Speaking of those budget discussions, I know Diana has a question on that.
Yeah, you're you're
Oh.
in the third quarter now. With your next budget quarter or the next year coming up, do you have anything like sort of like a wish list? Like what would you want to get extra if you could?
Well, would be post-sec, because we're looking at are amending our policy. So, and there's going to be big changes on that because right now, with inflation, our students don't get that much for living allowance, and they have to live on that for the month. And if they're living in Vancouver or Kamloops or Calgary or like it's isn't that much. So those we're looking at having community input also because that way we can take their recommendations and look at, okay, this is where it really needs to be changed.
To move that
Yeah,
allocation
to
around a
move
little
that.
bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the budget will be increased next fiscal year on that. So, and so that'll be where basically we'll be looking for.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Allow me to change direction a little bit. The Koala School, you've been working at bringing those numbers up.
With Nicola School, I haven't been really being part of that. I only am there to support them. Like if there's any funding they need, I do proposals because we don't have an LEA agreement signed with the band
Right.
school. And so for me to go in, and I know they want me to be involved because Colette wants to open the doors where I can go in and say, okay, this is what I need to do, or help with admin.
But yeah,
And because
but they do want to bring that enrollment up if they can.
they do. And like this year, we lost a lot of students from Nicola School to School District 58. And a lot of that has to do with because our school flooded and they're basically using trailers and using other band buildings to accommodate them. And it's not like where you can get off the bus and you all go into the school. It's they got to walk and
Just some difficult mechanics for sure.
it is. And I know that the high school, they work with First Nations Ed Steering Committee on online courses, so which is great because that's a regular routine for them to keep doing that.
Right.
So, so I'm glad that First Nations Ed Steering Committee is on board and supporting Nicola School also.
Thank you for that, Diana.
So do you have any, like, with the curriculum, whether it be School District 58 or Nicola School, do you help with the updating of either one of those?
Not the basic curriculum, because there's curriculum that they have that, for instance, SD 58. They have somebody developing that through the province. And Nicola School, they have, because they're an independent school, there's a curriculum that they have to follow.
Right.
But the one that we're doing right now is our 13 moon calendar, which we have a couple of band members that are hired because it's a thick binder. So, and it goes from kindergarten right to grade 12, is kind of making it more usable for teachers to use because it has a lot to do with our culture, our language. So it's expanding it more so that it's more friendlier, usable for teachers and
a
other
whole lot
staff.
more there than the R's. You know, so it's a monumental task though, changing that curriculum.
It is. Yep.
Yeah.
Because this is a thick binder. I don't know if Diane's seen it, but it's
Charlene, let's talk a little bit about school completion rates. How are we doing on that front?
Okay, with our band, because all our students that, like for instance, that are in grade 10, 11, 12, and because they're red flagged through our LEA, we don't have any students that are in an adult dogwood with School District 58 because we recently had a meeting with First Nations Ed Steering Committee and they're trying to get rid of that adult dogwood or
Mhm.
the evergreen is because that's where our students fall through the cracks. They want them to go through the regular school system, grade 10, 11, 12. But not even that, looking at them in grade 8, like as
Mm.
soon as they come out of elementary school and making those transitions because it's important for them to, for students and parents to know where, like, okay, my child is going to get into nursing, so make sure that they take all their sciences
Right.
at grade 10, and so then that way when
Yeah.
they graduate they're not going to go back and have to upgrade in like biology and chemistry and all the other science programs that go at nursing. So um, I find our completion rate has been successful because all our grade 12 students um, actually go back to university. And looking at the years that
It's
I've been
encouraging.
there, yeah,
It's
at the years that I've been there, like the kindergarten kids, and they graduate grade 12. And we actually had just recently this past year as students graduating from a 4-year program, like got her in or registered nursing or um, environmental studies. So we're really making progress in that. And even teacher's degree, we have 2 that are actually going to be completing this year, and we have 2 that are going in for their doctors. So it's a big, huge step for them. But
mm,
to have them, like, for instance, come back to our community or like closer so they could work along with us. But I know for a fact that 2 of the ones that are going to do their PhD have offers at like Okanagan College already to teach there. So
yeah.
yeah.
So when we're talking about school completion rates,
Hmm.
um, and it's so critical that if they're in that grade 8, grade 9, that they get to grade 12 and then go beyond into post secondary. But boy, it's a challenge to keep people engaged, young people engaged these days. So much social media outside influence. You're finding that?
Oh yes, because you look at students that are in elementary, they have their phones and or their little iPads. And I know at MSS, they're at Merritt Secondary School, they kind of cut the cell phones down so the students aren't allowed to use their cell phones. But then there's times that, like for instance, you get on a school bus and they have Wi-Fi service, or they kind of panic when they don't have Wi-Fi. They go and leave the school just to get Wi-Fi service, like during lunchtime or
Hmm.
wherever. And so it is a challenging, even for parents, because a lot of times we say, okay, no cell phones, and but
Yeah.
it's not a 24/7 that we're going to be watching them.
Yeah.
So it's a very
Oh,
challenging, and um, even
yeah.
for some of the adults too.
These are
So
these are so many factors that were
yeah.
not factors when we went to school.
I don't even have a
Uh,
cell phone.
No, no. Yeah, it's a different influence.
And Charlene, just one more question. Is there any aspect of your job that you find truly gratifying and just makes you so happy inside?
Okay, because I do a lot of proposals to First Nations Ed Steering Committee and making or ensuring that our youth have something to look forward during the summertime, or not even that, our youth from 16 to 30. It's called the Skills Linked program. So getting them employed and getting them into different activities, like because this will start in September and it usually ends in the middle of March because they only do it per fiscal year.
Yeah.
So and we also have the summer student employment, which this year we hired 7 students. So it just just to see them
Yeah.
be out there and gain that experience, and not even that, is to see how they interact with one another and other community members, because we have this camp during in the month of July, where we have up to 40 students, youth that'll attend it. And so just applying for funding through that and working with our Kustima group, because I do a lot of work with our Kustima group because of children in care, because there's times we don't know where our children were. Like I joined in 2017, and even talking it at a school district level, there's times that we didn't know where our students were. Even if they were at SD 58, we didn't know who their families were or where they were living. So that's how I got involved in that, and just being part of their activities and doing community events. And so there's, like, I could name a whole pile that, because just to see the expression on their faces too, like.
Well, I'm thinking though that you've been around long enough. I was going to say so long, but I didn't want to make that sound. I'm not suggesting you're old, but you've been around for quite a while. So you've seen so many young people come up through the education, grow up, educated through the regular school system into post-secondary. You've seen that transition. That has to be beyond words gratifying.
Yes.
And I just want to add in there that I won't say how long ago, but I too was a summer student at the Glimpse Lake camp one year. And back then we actually stayed in the cabins with, the mice and the bats, and they've done a lot of updates now to it. So now they have the day camp, and I think it's wonderful. It is so awesome to get out there.
UNB Education Manager Charlene McRae, you have made us smarter today. We thank you very much for coming on UNB Live.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's going to do it for another edition of UNB Live. But before we go, a special thanks to CBC Radio and host Doug Herbert. He had us on recently to tell Kamloops and area audience all about UNB Live. Diana, we're going to make you a media star yet.
I'm getting pretty famous in Merritt, I was told this morning as I grabbed my coffee, but yeah.
And Diana, who's our next guest?
Well, as you mentioned, we're going to be talking health, and what a list that entails, with Upper Nicola Community and Public Health Nurse Terry Stockwell.
But until then, stay healthy, stay safe, and please make certain that you do tell your friends about UNB Live. The more, the merrier. We thank you for listening, and we thank you for watching.
Atli hai tem hula.